The small state of Maryland wraps around the huge Chesapeake Bay, which almost divides it in half. The state is almost divided again farther west, where at one point only 1.6 miles of Maryland separates the West Virginia and Pennsylvania state lines. Also bordered by Delaware, Virginia, and the District of Columbia, Maryland lies at the heart of colonial America and saw action in the Revolution, War of 1812, and Civil War. Its place in the forefront of American history also includes important roles in the Underground Railroad, the Industrial Revolution, the westward expansion, the Space Age, and every other major period in America's story. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 rated tourist attractions in Maryland. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome travel guides, and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when we publish a new video. So now let's cut to the chase. At 10, Antietam National Battlefield. Few places illustrate the terrible cost of war like Antietam National Battlefield, the scene of the bloodiest day's battle in the Civil War. On September 17, 1862, the Union Army, coming from the east, met Robert E. Lee's Confederates, approaching from the west. In the battle that followed, nearly 23,000 men were killed, wounded, or missing in action. Today, the battlefield is still open countryside, studded with monuments to the regiments of both sides. Civil War buffs will want to follow the entire 8-mile self-guided tour route, on foot, on a bicycle, or by car. Others should at least not miss the old Dunker Church, where the first clash occurred, the sunken road, where the next phase played out, and Burnside Bridge, where Union troops at great cost finally forced General Lee to withdraw. A tip to parents. Older children will get more out of touring the battlefield by downloading the treasure hunt from the National Park website. Questions on the treasure hunt encourage them to read the signs as you follow the auto tour. At 9, Ocean City Boardwalk. Among the most popular beaches in Maryland and of the mid-Atlantic coast, Ocean City has 10 miles of free public beach and a 3-mile classic wooden boardwalk that has been acclaimed as the nation's best. Along this popular promenade are shops, a Ferris wheel, a roller coaster, a 1902 carousel, and kiosks selling foods that range from the famous Delmarva fried chicken to saltwater taffy and hot funnel cakes. Sounds delicious. A tram carries visitors between attractions, and on the beach are frequent free concerts, movies, and other evening activities. The Ocean City Life-Saving Station Museum has a saltwater tank where you can see local sea creatures. With miles of uninterrupted ocean shoreline and acres of creeks and back bays to explore, Ocean City is a prime spot for water sports. Consistent year-round waves attract surfers, and several surf schools can teach you how to catch them. A half-dozen surf shops are ready with gear. You can also rent stand-up paddleboards, or you can explore some of the wildlife-rich creeks in a kayak or canoe. Family-owned Ayers Creek Adventures can take you on guided eco-tours of the tidal creeks and back bays. At number 8, American Visionary Art Museum. A standout even in Baltimore's rich art environment, the American Visionary Art Museum displays and celebrates the work of self-taught artists, both local and from around the world. Its collection and frequently changing exhibits are often surprising and thought-provoking, looking at art in new ways and from new perspectives. These may represent traditional folk arts that have been passed down through generations, or they may be creative uses of found materials by artists using whatever medium was available to satisfy their creative drive. The exhibits that fill its main building, itself an award-winning work of art, and the adjoining sculpture barn will never be boring and will likely leave you smiling. Sculpture is a prominent feature here, and each May an array of original sculptures take to the streets of Baltimore in the museum's kinetic sculpture race. Outlandish human-propelled vehicles complete a 15-mile circuit through the city that includes climbing hills and other obstacles. Crowds line the course, and the most popular viewing spot is where the vehicles go down a ramp and into the harbour, and where the unseaworthy sink. Well, of course. Food trucks line the way to feed spectators who join in the fun by dressing in, well, crazy costumes. Only in Baltimore. Next up at 7, Assateague State Park. Assateague State Park is on Assateague Island, funnily enough, a barrier island on Maryland's eastern shore. On the east side of the island is the windswept landscape of the Atlantic Ocean, with a long stretch of beach that's popular in the summer for swimming and surfing. On the more protected bay side of the island, park visitors enjoy fishing and kayaking. The island supports a range of wildlife, but is known in particular for the feral horses that roam the dunes and the windswept grassland. The park has campsites, picnic tables, a camp store and a snack bar. The closest town is Berlin, about 8 miles away. At 6, Old Town Annapolis and William Paca House. The few blocks of Old Town Annapolis between the town dock and the Maryland State House are filled with equal measures of history and charm. Once the United States Capitol, the State House is the oldest one still in continuous legislative use. A short way down the hill, through narrow streets lined with picture-worthy brick and clapboard buildings, is the William Paca House and Garden, home of the signer of the Declaration of Independence, William Paca. Fully restored and furnished in period antiques and original Paca family items, the house is an outstanding example of the home of an influential and prosperous Annapolis family of the colonial era and is on the National Register of Historic Places. The 2-acre garden, with terraces, topiary and a fish-shaped pond, has also been restored to its 1760s appearance. My tip: on hot summer days, take a break from historic sites and head to Sandy Point State Park on the shore of Chesapeake Bay. Lifeguards are on duty at the mile-long sandy beach, and you can rent boats at the park's marina to get views of Annapolis from the water. In December, the beach turns into a colourful holiday wonderland as lights on the bay fills the park with more than 70 illuminated displays, many of them animated. Okay, at 5, Baltimore Inner Harbor. Baltimore's Inner Harbor is a magnet for visitors, filled with attractions and entertainment options. The whole area and the neighborhoods just back from the water have been nicely developed with parks, hotels, restaurants, shops, museums and historic ships to tour. Foremost of these is the sloop of war USS Constellation, a 3-masted sailing ship that saw action in the Civil War and intercepting slave ships off the African coast. Also open to tour are the submarine USS Torsk, the US Coast Guard cutter Taney and the lightship Chesapeake. Surrounding the harbour are the National Aquarium, the Visionary Art Museum and the interactive Maryland Science Center. Along with a planetarium, the Science Center is filled with hands-on experiments, demonstrations and science activities, making it one of Baltimore's favourite places to go for families. Harbour Place is a modern complex anchored by glass-enclosed pavilions featuring shops, restaurants and an amphitheatre on the promenade. At 4, Baltimore Museum of Art. Known for its superb collections of 19th century, modern and contemporary art, the Baltimore Museum of Art now holds 95,000 works by artists that include Pablo Picasso, Paul Cézanne, Vincent van Gogh, Andy Warhol, Jean Miro and Marc Chagall, in addition to the world's largest collection of works by Henri Matisse. Along with paintings, sculpture and graphic arts, the BMA displays notable collections of textiles, jewellery and furniture, as well as African, Asian and Near Eastern art. The African collections are among the most important in the United States, comprising more than 2,000 objects ranging from ancient Egyptian art to contemporary works. Masks, headdresses, figural carvings, jewellery, royal staffs, textiles, ceremonial items and pottery reflect more than 200 African cultures. Outside the museum, 2 landscaped sculpture gardens present a century of modern and contemporary sculptures. Inside the building, the highly acclaimed restaurant Gertrude's features the bounty of the Chesapeake Bay and its surrounding farmlands. Oh, a tip for parents: free family Sundays include monthly drop-in art workshops in the Fox Court from 2 to 5 p.m. These usually explore themes suggested by current museum exhibits and are designed for families with children ages 6 through 9. All materials are provided. And now at 3, the Walters Art Museum. In Baltimore's Mount Vernon Cultural District, the Walters Art Museum is a unique cultural landmark and one of only a handful of institutions in the world that presents such a comprehensive history of world art. Covering all media of art from the 3rd millennium BC through the early 20th century, the collections, all beautifully displayed and interpreted, are best known for their exceptional jewellery, enamels, ivories, bronzes and illuminated manuscripts. Egyptian, Greek, Roman and Byzantine antiquities are outstanding, as is the medieval and Renaissance art collections. The museum has especially good interpretive materials to engage young people in exploring its collections. Oh, a tip for parents: stop on the way in to pick up booklets with puzzles, treasure hunts and activities that engage children in the exhibits. Before and after a visit you can explore Art Adventures, the museum's free virtual programs that include art-making videos and downloadable activity packets. Sounds good. At 2. National Aquarium. The dramatic National Aquarium building overlooking Baltimore's Inner Harbor replicates several ecosystems as homes for marine life from all over the world, as well as birds, mammals and appropriate plant life. At the Atlantic Coral Reef exhibit, you can descend through a 335,000-gallon exhibit where you are surrounded by a rainbow of nearly 100 species of colourful tropical fishes and other reef species, including black-nosed sharks. An especially popular thing to see is feeding time, when divers feed the reef fish. Not all the environments are underwater, but they share a common connection to water. The largest of these is the 5-story Amazon River forest, which you can explore at various levels from the forest floor to the treetops to see birds, frogs, plants and even sloths and monkeys. One of the most popular things to do at the aquarium is watching the 6 Atlantic bottlenose dolphins from an underwater viewing area. Dolphin Discovery is the aquarium's largest exhibit, and you can also watch these fascinating creatures play and interact with each other from the amphitheatre. My tip: every Friday evening from 5 to 8 p.m. year-round, museum entrance is half price. Yes, half price. You can get advance tickets online or buy them at the entrance too. And finally, at number 1, Fort McHenry National Monument. Completed in 1803 to guard the entrance to Baltimore's busy harbour, Fort McHenry became a national icon after withstanding a 24-hour bombardment by the British in 1814. The fort saved Baltimore from occupation and inspired Francis Scott Key, who was being held prisoner on a British ship during the attack, to write the Star-Spangled Banner. You can walk the ramparts, tour the buildings, and watch a dramatic multimedia presentation on the history of the fort and the national anthem. Fort McHenry is the highlight of the 560-mile Star-Spangled Banner National Historic Trail, which traces the Chesapeake Campaign of the War of 1812 through Virginia, Washington, D.C. and central Maryland. Other sites along the trail are the Star-Spangled Banner Flag House in Baltimore and Sotterley Plantation, site of a British raid during the war. You can download a map to find other sites. And there you have the top 10 rated tourist attractions in Maryland. Did you like what you saw? Let us know in the comments down below. Share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fantastic travel guides. So see you next time.